Hello, everybody. Olivier and myself are witness to, would like to come and tell you something about an initiative. We're small in Villeneuve-d'Ascq from the northern France. We're not as big as Fleury-Michon. We've come from the Jardin de Cocagne. This is, I'm the garden, he's the table. So what is the Garden of Cocagne? There are 120. Some of you will already know of this. I'm sure several of you know about it. These are projects for insertion. We take on people, we employ people who are looking for jobs, and we were able to give them a job on an organic farm. And the idea is to, right from the beginning, I was convinced that I think this is a basic humanitarian working on the land. It's absolutely extraordinary. It gives confidence to people. It means you're getting in touch with the real roots, having a balance because you're working with the seasons and the land, and also being able to understand what work is, because if you working on the land, it's hard work. So the Garden of Cocagne is also sort of about social insertion. It's not necessarily the theme for today. So let's move on to organic production. So the theme today is to be able to feed 10 billion people on the planet. We are convinced that with better production methods and feeding oneself better within rich countries, we can have important consequences, and therefore throughout the planet. And that's why we agreed to come and talk to you today. So first of all, organic production and selling throughout a short distribution system in a basket form. We call this amas. These three pillars can be declined in we think that we've got an original way. We're in something called the scientific park of the Havre area. We have about 6,000 salaried members and 1,200 companies involved. And 5 years later, we still believe it's a very good idea and wants to be continued to be developed. And why is this? There are several challenges. Of course, there's a lot of mixture of people from different walks of life. First of all, we've got people who've lost their jobs, people from high-tech companies. There's a university campus that's close by. We have students, we have researchers, and we have a total mix socially, but also an economic mix, because we've got an insertion project. We've got high-tech companies, and this is an urban project. Then we have other challenges. We're right close to Lille, the city of Lille, and for those people who live in and around Lille, obviously need to be fed, and they're starting to eat a little better. So there are all sorts of consequences to this, and my vision for this is that we could install a garden. I mean, that you need 4 hectares. So we could implant these round about Lille in other areas, and why not also in other industrial zones throughout France. This morning I was listening in on other conferences to do with climate and the effect of greenhouse gas emissions. And there are several environmental consequences that are considerable, and the impact in terms of the sovereignty of towns on what they're eating. So I can't just stop there with I was struck this morning by the fact of how important teaching is important in all of this. What we want to do is we want to teach people, teach children in schools, teach students, so that everybody knows that a lettuce doesn't grow on trees, and that it's important to actually touch the soil yourselves. And what we want to do is we want to go from the garden to the table, which is why I will now hand the presentation over to Olivier, because there are 120 gardens, cocaine gardens in France. So let me hand over to talk about the table. Thank you, Jean-Louis. I met Jean-Louis not long ago, and he talked about his garden and about his missions and his objectives, and I thought this was fantastic. And he's been thinking about this for a long time. And I thought, why not a table of cocagne? And what is this? Well, it's what you started to describe. It's being able to offer vegetables that are being grown in the garden of Cocagne from locally by innovative companies round and about, and go from the seed to the plate. So it's a very short circuit distribution circuit because production is close by. So this seems very relevant to me and actually matches up with a stronger demand on the part of consumers, because we're talking about organic, locally produced food and products that are more and more requested. It's a project that will remain also as an insertion project in order that we can employ local people and employ people in restaurants. We have 3 objectives for this table of Cocagne. The first one is we want it to be a place where people want to come and eat, so that people can appreciate good cooking with organic ingredients, seasonal fruits and vegetables, and have nice, fresh menus available. And so we have 7,200 people working in this circuit, and also the locals in the area can come, so they can all appreciate a well-being, a certain amount of well-being. We also want it to be a place where people can come and meet one another. And as you can see on this slide, this is the mock-up of one of our future restaurants, a mix where people can come and meet up, and where newly employed people can meet employees from the other people who are working for the local companies. And this is very important. Everybody can get together, and this whole community can get together, and based around the values that we want to communicate. So we have a design that is very close to the same design that the Garden of Cocagne uses. It's all about the positive economy. It's all about the local economy, growing the local economy and promoting it with a short distribution circuit. So we go straight from production to the table. So after about 20 years of working in a rather more mass market, I've gone from do-it-yourself projects to this project, and I've totally changed my career, and I'm now invested in this particular route. We're convinced that we can change the world by eating, and by enjoying eating, and by eating organically, by eating locally produced produce, and if it's organic, local, and if we can do this, and it's natural, and if it becomes finally an act of something that does you good, it also does good for others, and it does good for the planet. And this is why this table of Cocagne. Okay, we're busy building the project at the moment and developing it. We're trying to do as best we can. And we will have our first clients in autumn, because we're just finishing the building works, so in autumn. If you're in Lille, then please come and join us round our table of Cocagne. And as we have 2 minutes left, so the prompter says, I would just like to say that it's very important, and this is why we've agreed to come today. Projects like this are very difficult to develop. So we need 2 million euros in funding. We need 1.5 million for the buildings, and we need 500,000 for the cooking equipment and the kitchen equipment. So I come from a teaching background, and I've raised my children, and I've done other things. I've got a fairly atypical background. So I had a big change in my personal life, and I decided that, once a friend said it to me, they said, I can see you developing a socially responsible business, Jean-Louis. So I was pretty flabbergasted at the time, and I thought about this and let it build. So, but it's true, there's a sort of synergy that can develop with lots of different people in this area. And be you here locally or if you want to act nationally, if everybody acts, we can do lots of things. We've gone and looked for lots of different professional skills. So we've looked for financiers. We've looked for people who are prepared to give their help freely. We've looked for students, a lot of students, for example, in Lille, and a lot of students have helped us. We've people who are working on their masters and their theses. And when we all get together and put our heads together on this type of project, I think we can make the world move forward. And the more we multiply it out, the further we will be able to get. Thank you very much.